Hey everyone, so in this video, I'm going to be going over is driving safe in Italy. So I recently just came back from my honeymoon with my wife, in which we spent about like 10 days driving in Italy. The first night we didn't rent a car just because we were in Venice. But even so, the thing with Italy, if you're worried about actually driving in Italy, to sum it up, it's safe, okay? I do think it's safe coming from America, in which I drive practically every single day here in America. But in Italy, the driver's seat is on the left-hand side. They have some cars that are pretty similar to ours as far as like I see a lot of Audis, for example. So if you drive an Audi, you can literally rent a car and drive that same model type out in Italy as well. And now, as far as like my experience in driving in Italy, I drove like some parts in the city as far as like Mestre/Venice goes, but then I did spend the majority of my drive out in the mountainous regions of the Dolomites. So in the city areas, there's a lot of roundabouts. Just make sure you follow the typical street signs and lights and such. Now there are a lot of roundabouts, and so those are really easy to navigate, right? Whoever's in the roundabout has right of way, so you just yield to them and wait until it's your turn. Now, when you get more into the mountainous regions of like the Dolomites, for example, their roads do turn into one lane roads. There are a lot of tight turns and there's a lot of sharp turns. And so just make sure to drive carefully. Make sure that you don't go into the opposite lane, even though there's no like divider between you guys, just because like during those tight turns, you don't want to run into any other cars. In addition to that, if you do get motion sickness or your passengers do prepare them for that, just because in the Dolomites, you are going to be making a lot of turns in some areas. And because it's one lane roads out in the mountainous areas, be ready to overtake. Okay, so for example, if you are following a truck that seems to be pretty slow, you just want to make sure that the opposing or opposite lane is clear before you actually overtake that truck. Contrary to that, if you think you're already going fast enough, trust me, some of the locals there go extremely fast, in which they'll literally pull up right behind you and then just overtake you as well. I've seen like these really old looking trucks just overtake me even though I was going the speed limit and such. In the Italy region as well, when I was using my maps or GPS, there are indications of like speed limit cameras being reported ahead. So anytime I heard that notification on my GPS, I just made sure to slow down and follow the speed limit. Even so, if you can drive in America, I do believe that you should be able to drive just fine in the Italian Dolomites. You should have no problem. Also, don't forget to make sure and get your international driver's permit. I have other videos here on my channel on how to do that. But even so, the smaller car that you get or rent, probably the better, just because some areas are tight. But I wouldn't say it's actually hard or unsafe to drive in Italy though. But that's just my opinion. But if you are planning a trip to Italy, specifically the Italian Dolomites, be sure to watch this video next where I go over how to plan a trip to the Italian Dolomites, just because that's where I recently just came from.